So what are we doing today? We're doing this. So my Beetle here, my 70 Beetle, has suspension problems. So we took it out and we're going to be working on it. Let me just show you what the problems are. Hold on a second. So I was driving this thing and noticed I was having some problems with the suspension. The ball joints were really loose on the tie rods and everything, so it kind of had a vibration to it. And when I got to looking at it, I realized that I needed to replace them. And I got new ones to do it with, but while I had it off, I had this tie rod here off, I started looking under there. I turned my head to the left and look what I saw. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's bad. And you know, it goes all the way up into here. Not good at all. I mean, it's in pretty bad shape. Now that I have it off, I can see the other side has similar rot problems. So I couldn't just fix that, right? So I couldn't just fix the tie rod. So now we're into a much bigger problem and a much bigger project of rebuilding this whole front end. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So I've ordered parts. We've got the brand new front beam that's coming from CIP1 and a whole bunch of other parts that I need. So when we get into that, I'll bring you back. We'll have a video on assembling this all together. I may bring you back once I start tearing this apart because of course I do have to disassemble all this, and maybe we'll come back and we'll talk about that too. And obviously I'm gonna try to reuse these control arms. Hopefully there's no problems with any of that stuff after I pull them out. Obviously I've got new ball joints. Considering it a disc conversion, but I don't know. The costs are piling up already. Yeah, here's a look at these nasty ball joints. They're really bad too. I mean, the boots are shot. Yeah, they're nasty. This shock here, I don't know how good the shock is, but we're gonna replace it, as well as these shock rubber mounting add-ons. Got new ones of these coming. Probably gonna have some fun taking off this stabilizer bar. I think I'm just gonna cut these. I've got new clips coming for these from CIP1, so we'll probably just buzz them off the whiz wheel. Gotta take off that steering gear and see what it's got going. See if it's got any problems. You can see there's quite a bit of play right there, and I'm not sure that's normal. It moves a lot without doing anything. So I'm gonna have to read up on that, see if there's anything I can do about that. Maybe it's just something needs tightened up, or maybe it's shot and I need a new one. But that play doesn't look normal to me. So I don't know. But the plan is to reuse that. So I'm gonna have to get it off and get it cleaned up and do some research to see if it's usable in that state. I've always noticed the steering being really sloppy, you know, with a lot of play in it. And you know, that makes perfect sense after getting it off and getting it disconnected from the steering column and the steering shaft. Yeah, there's a lot of play in there. So I'll figure that out before we get put together. But everything's coming, and some of it will be here the day after tomorrow. And I got a few more pieces coming a few days later. So hopefully it's enough to do the whole job. I don't know. I guess we'll figure it out. So anyway, that's the story today. That's the new job. So I guess we'll have to tackle it together. So I'll see you soon. Okay, I'm back. So here's a little jig that I'm building. I've attached it to my bench, and it's really sturdy, really solid. Of course, I built this bench pretty strong. It's bolted to the wall all the way around, tied in. The surface, as you can tell, is like 2x10s. But anyway, you know, this is pretty sturdy. And my plan is, I made this exactly big enough that I could stick across here. I think the distance from this board to the centers are something like 11 3/8 inches. At any rate, I measured these holes, these mounting holes, here and here, and they're about 11 and I think 3/8 apart. So I'm trying to create a mount so that I can bolt this thing to my bench jig in order to make it easier to work with. Now I used screws, you know, with Torx heads, and so when I'm done with this project, I could just unbolt that off and stick it somewhere in case I need it again. But I think this is going to do the trick and make assembly a lot easier. Now there is one thing that I've got to do. There's an elephant in the room here that's going to make this quite impossible, and that is this stabilizer bar here has to come off because it's going to be right in the way to let me bolt something flat to that. So that's a bit of a problem, but that shouldn't be a problem. When the time comes, I'll come out and I'll buzz these off, get that off of there, and then you know, of course the new one will come, it won't have that. So initially I'm going to take this off, put that on the bench so I can take it apart, and then when the new one comes I won't even have to worry about that until the last step, and I'll stick it on the sawhorses or something. So that's the master plan. We'll see if it goes as planned. I think it will. Anyway, I'll probably cut those off. I probably won't show any footage of me cutting that off because it's kind of boring. I'm just going to cut these things and it should come right off. Okay, I spared you a lot of the details, but this is the rig I ended up finishing up. It would be a lot better if it were steel tubing, but I wanted something removable. And like I said, I'm not probably going to be doing this much. I might only do, you know, a couple of 3 of these ever. But this is something I can reuse if I need to. I bolted it to the bench. I used a lot of screws. The bench is, like I said, really sturdy. I put these 2 on top just to keep the whole thing from flexing when I'm hammering or working on wrenching something. This is very heavy if you've never lifted one of these. So getting it up there was a little bit of a chore and getting it bolted on. But I think it'll serve us here. I may not be able to take it all apart up here just because there might be some hammering to get these ball joints apart and pickle forking and things like that. And I don't know if the rig will take that, you know. But we'll see. It might. And if it doesn't, we'll throw it on the floor and finish it. But I really wanted it to be able to put the new one together and be able to put everything together easily without bending under the car and everything. So the problem we will have is these spring-loaded things that are, you know, tensioned. And so you've got to kind of really use some force to get these ball joints back on their studs afterwards. And so, you know, we may rig up something to do that easier, or just muscle it on top of that bench somehow with a big steel pipe. We'll see. But wanted to stop for a moment. Not much done today. It's a different day than my previous clip, but I wanted to show some progress, and then we'll really be seeing some things once I start tearing it apart, and you will see more of the process of doing that. Anyway, that's it for now. All right, here we are. It's time to start knocking this thing down. So I'll probably fast forward through this so you don't see everything. But first thing, I'm going to take these old shocks off, and then I'm going to try to break these balls and take this off, get this remaining tie rod off. It should come off fairly easy on this side because I had it off before. And then maybe move on to the steering after we get both sides done. And then after we get these control arms off, we'll take springs up. So let's get at it. It's tight, that's stuck. Yep, it's gonna be trouble. Dang it, that hurt. I need a wrench. Pick this off. It should be easy. This thing's gonna be a bear, even though I've had it off before, apparently. No, I had this one off. The powder pan on it. These can be very tricky to remove. And they're old and they've been on there for a long time. Get here. Okay. Large seat, just spread that. Get them straightened up. As straight as you can get them back. Otherwise, it won't come off. This is what a bear would do inside the car, I think. Sorry about that. You okay? I mean to knock your head off. All right, see if we can get this off. No problem. Now, yeah. Down to the sucker, I don't want to come off of there. Okay, now this one's gonna be a little tricky, I think. I have not had this one off, so maybe I get a little love taps, it'll come off too. Oh man. It's stuck. Bingo. Ooh, he didn't want to come off of there. All right. I do have another one here. I sawed this off just to, it was easier to get off that way. All right, let's see now. What happened to my little screwdriver? Here it is. Okay, looking good. I think the next thing we're gonna do is see if we can get that drum off of there. So I'm not sure how to put this camera where you'll be able to see what's going on. That is under stress, so this is gonna be a little tricky, I'm pretty sure. These don't have, that makes it even worse, that they don't have any way to grab things, so these could be really hard to get off. I believe 3/4 is it. Is it? Of course it is. All right. Yeah, this is gonna be tricky. It's gonna be very tricky. I'm gonna have to get this all the way around here. See if I can get this to turn. Look at that. Hey, it turned straight away. Look at that. Look at that. Things are rusty, but it's working. I think. I'll top one first. I think it's going straight that way. And the bottom one, I think. They can be on the right now to stay there. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm good. You can see one doing. No, you guys can see the bolts off right, and that's all bolts all over there. Now, the top. Now, similar situation. Hopefully, they'll see that. Okay, you can find Alright, well, that was a little trickier. It was tight. Now to make sure the stud isn't moving. It's not. That's cool. I think I probably will lube up the other side before I do it. Uh-oh, did you see that? That's not good. That is not good. That whole thing is turning because it's the camber adjuster. See if I can find something to hold that with. It's skinny. This is too big for this. Well, maybe not. Alright. I love this tool. It's a Craftsman. It's an adjustable wrench. And it's got like a vice grip to it as well, which is pretty cool. My wife got it for me for Christmas one year. I tell her it's one of my favorite tools. And it is. Although there are other tools I really like too. Okay, come on. Inside. That's fine. I think it'll be pretty fall off. The camera adjustment plans in there. If I'm not mistaken. The bulb ran down that stuff. It's going to be tough. I don't have one of those either, so I really need to reserve those adjustment things. Let's see what I'm talking about here. But I'm on right now. You see my turn it? That moves. See that? See how far it turns it out for adjustment purposes. It's done. Very 19. You're 19 quarters. Same thing. Okay. Now, this should. Yeah, see, it's already off. See that? Now, question is, should I try to pickle fork that off of there now or later? Because that's going to be moving all over the place. I don't know. I didn't consult with anybody on that. I can't really mess up. Break my stool. That one's already broke. Come loose. You do. Nothing fell. Okay. Well, did it come or did it not? I thought it did. Could be. Hey, one drum is off. Woohoo! Okay. Yeah, that other piece, that's gonna be a little hard to get off, but I can deal with that later. Now we get to move on to the other side and do it all over again. So I'll probably just do that. I'm not gonna bore you with all this. Oh, that was easy. Okay. Those are off. I still gotta get the steering box off, but I think I'd like to see if I could get these arms off of here. Not quite sure to do that. The tension's all off. These are all like straight down, so that's good. I got these bolts. Oh my gosh. These are like completely obscure. Let me show you what I mean. Is there a bolt and a nut in there somewhere? It is like, they're gone. I can't even see them for all the grease. I don't know if you can see that very well. See if this side looks. See, now this side you can see them. All right, maybe we'll start on this. All right, let's see if we can get these arms off. I gotta start somewhere. I might as well dig these out and see if I can do something here. I'm definitely not gonna use a screwdriver to try to clean all that out, so I can even see these. What do they call these? Not a jam nut. Well, there's a jam nut around it, but I don't know. Can't remember what these bolts are called. UV-dub guys are probably going, "You idiot, it's this." Which I'm cool with that. I admit. I didn't know what they were, but I don't mess with them enough to really, keep track. Stuff like that. I'll tell you what, I'll look it up for you. If you don't know what it is, I'll put it right here. Okay? It's what you thought it was. Okay, that one's pretty well cleared up so you can see it again. I'm going to see if I can get a socket on here. That's what I thought. It's not going to do that. see if I can turn the jam nut off of there. Wow, those are really tight. Okay, for the record, it's an 8mm. 8mm. Oh, yeah, everything about this is going to be really tough, right? There we go. That's a tough little grub. Grub, that's what they're called. They're grub screws. See, they look like that. They got a point on the end. And they have a point on the end because the spring in here has an indentation on it. And you VW guys already know that stuff. No problem. There. Now, I don't know if you could see this or not. I'll try to get you in a little closer here. It's a little hard with this crazy wide angle camera I really been doing. But you could see down in that hole, or maybe you can't, that there is a divot in there where the spring's at, where the tip of that grub fits. See that? And of course the one down here as well has a divot in the spring. You can see it better once I've got you. You'll be able to see it better once I've got the spring out. Okay. All right, now we're going to see if we could pull these arms off, or rather I should say hammer these arms off, because they're probably not going to come quietly. And by that I mean I'm going to have to bang with a loud hammer. But there shouldn't be anything preventing them from coming out. Oh, except one more jam nut. No, I got to get that off before I take the spring off. So don't let me forget that. Okay. No problemo. Look at that. Whoa. That looks tasty, doesn't it? Mmm. Came right off though. I'm gonna have to clean this up because I really don't know if it's good or bad. It looks okay to me. I guess you could tell by seeing how much play you got when you move them. And these are tight, so I really don't think they're a problem. Upper. Trying to get past the flange and those needle bearings. Huh. Come on. There we go. Another one. Upper. It's looking good. All right. There you can see that divot a lot easier right there. Now you guys can see that or not. There's a nice divot right there. Now before we pull these springs out, I'm going to put a zip tie, because you can see this is just a bunch of pieces of spring steel. I want a zip tie on there. I don't need to hold those together. Matter of fact, I think you're only supposed to do it on one side, because I don't think the zip tie will actually fit through there once you try to pull the other. I could be wrong, but I think I'm going to be safe. Try to just do one side. Hopefully I don't have a major calamity. Okay, side number 2. No problemo. All right, both of them are out. Now I got one more grub screw. I'm not going to bore you with that, but it's right in the middle of the beam on the back right here. There's two of them actually, top and bottom, right in the middle. And I got to take those out too. I don't know if you can see them down in there, but those have to come out. You're not going to be able to see that very well, so I'm just going to take those off camera. All right, like I said, we're going to put some zippity doodah ties on here just to kind of hold these together so they don't go flying apart on us. We'll try to take these springs out. That'll work. These are going to be a little greasy. All right, that ought to hold them, I think. Okay, we should be able to pull these things right out of here. You know, with the shock absorbers in, you couldn't really see how bad the issue was here, but if you look right here on the inside of that, wow, yeah, it was just about as bad as the outside. So, okay, we're going to try to See if we can't pull these out of here. Now there are some cups on here too. They might be less inhibited if I take these rubber boots out. Let me try that first, see if I can get them out. There we go. I got new boots. Alright, let's see if we can get this to move. Nice and tasty. Some old grease in there. Wow, that looks nasty. But you know what? It's still very pliable and good, so we're going to reuse. No, we're not going to reuse that. Alright, here we go. What am I doing with it? I'm going to stick it over here on these sawhorses so we can get this one out without making a huge mess. More grease. Oh, some of them got stuck in there a little bit, so it's alright. We'll have to straighten that all out. Alright, and we will reuse these, obviously. We're pretty close at being done with taking this beam apart. There's very few pieces left we're going to keep, but of course there's that steering box, so we got to get that off of there next, because I don't have another one of those, and I'm not real sure, like I showed before, not sure if it's good or not, because there's a lot of play in here. Look at this. Is that normal? I have to do some reading on that. But we're gonna have to take that off. That's just clamps on there, so it'd just be a couple of bolts here. I gotta figure out how to get it off of there, because it's got this weird screw mechanism, or clamp mechanism on it. No problem. That is one greasy bolt. Well, it seemed like it was coming out really easy. There we go. That's these things I was talking about. It's just a piece of metal. Once you bolt it down tight, you smash that up over the flat of the bolt and it doesn't come back out. Alright, this should come off now. There we go. Something fell down there. I think that was a washer. Alright, that needs some work. Like I said, I hope there's some kind of adjustment I can do to tighten it up, but we'll have to watch. Okay. Well now, you know what? I think that just about does it for this thing. We're not going to reuse any more parts on it. So next thing we can do is just unbolt it and junk the stupid thing. So what are we going to put there? Well, I'm glad you asked. So I got my parts in. Here's the new front beam from CIP1. Let me plug this in for you. Looks pretty good. Brand new is always better. Yeah, these things are maybe about 350 bucks, but for what I had, it was definitely going to be worth it to put this in. Now I know I'm gonna have to, I think there was a place I thought for putting Zerks in here. Here they are, for pumping grease in, and I don't think it came with any Zerks. So, and that's not a good thread. It's got a piece of metal in there, so I'm gonna have to ream those out definitely with chase those in with some thread chasers. But yeah, it comes just like this. It comes with the needle bearings, and if you look way in there, the bushings are in there too. Nylon bushings are already preloaded on there, so should be pretty good. And I've even got new grub screws here, at least in the beam, for for the center of the springs. So it ought to be pretty good. A lot of more odds and ends. My steering damper screw, steering damper shock here. The old one was just doing nothing. I got 2 new shocks, although I'm very disappointed because I bought the wrong ones, and these are just long shocks. I'd also bought the kits to go on top that has the plastic over cover over them with the extra extension like the factory would have had, but these shocks do not work with them. They're a special other shock, and I got the wrong one. So I'm debating whether to not just put these on, you know, or I could show you this side of it. I didn't bring the other pieces with me, but this is just this with some stuff on top of it, whereas the factory shocks from Sachs would have had you know, a large plastic cover over it like we had on the old one, but I got the wrong one. So I may just go ahead and put these on and send those other extenders with the rubber bushings and everything and the plastic on. I may just send those back. So I'm not sure. I was trying to go for the original look. So we got shocks. We've got, of course, all new ball joints, upper and lower. Gotta have those. I got a new one of these steering discs for the steering column down by where it hooks onto the steering box. The other one was kind of cracking and pretty flaky back. We don't want that. Got 4 more of these seals. Those are in here. Let's throw those up there. And then we've got the tie rod hold down clamps to put back on once we clean the tie rod up. I also bought some of these beam shock pads like the old ones. We're gonna put those on. Somehow I bought some of these too. I'm not sure if I gotta read up. I'm not sure if I need these or if these just replace those. Don't remember. Not quite sure where these would go if these are on. So I gotta do some reading there. But that's what we've got. So next thing is gonna be to dismantle that thing and take her down. I'm gonna probably go ahead and bolt up the new one tonight, but I'm probably not gonna put anything together yet because we've got to clean a lot of parts. I've made quite a mess over there, but I clean a bunch of parts up and get them all looking good, and painting, probably maybe blasting a little bit, but that's a job for tomorrow. Here's those covers I was talking about. As you can see, this cover goes over the shock absorber like this. This one's shot, very shot, and it's got a whole set of rubber bushings on top, as you can see right there, all hooked together. And I bought all these but the shocks I bought are way too big to fit them on. It takes these special smaller ones like this, and they're like 50 bucks a piece, so I bought the wrong ones. Anyway, we will bring you back after I got the new one bolted up, and then we'll probably call it quits. Well, I guess that's it for today. I got the new one all mounted up here ready to go. I got a bit of a late start today, so that's probably about all we're going to do tonight. And probably pick up on it again this weekend, and we'll bring you back for another day of fun trying to put this back together. In the meantime, I got a whole pile of parts that need cleaned, so I'm going to have to do that first. I've also got to press the ball joints out of those arms and press the new ones in, so that'll be a little bit tricky, so we'll get into that too. But anyway, that's going to be it for now, so we'll see you. Take care.